All right. Welcome back to the channel. I did just want to make a video about this because this is something that's very important and it's about to happen here in Colorado. A very highly controversial thing, but gray wolves are about to be released into Colorado. It could happen as early as next week. But yeah, the whole year leading up to this has been very tumultuous and has had lots of peaks and valleys, we'll just say. So I just want to make a video here to maybe catch people up on, if you haven't been following along, kind of where we stand, what has happened, what the plan is, and of course, I don't get political on this channel. This is just about photography and wildlife, so I will keep it that way. I'm not going to inject my personal feelings into this. But yeah, it has been sort of a mess. So where do we begin? Well, one of the first big hurdles that happened throughout 2023, leading up to this reintroduction here in December, is around a 10J rule, and that is going to happen. That's why I say wolves could be introduced as early as the 8th, because that 10J rule goes into effect on that day. And what a 10J rule means is they're going to put it on the gray wolves, but they are also now considered an experimental species in Colorado. So if a rancher catches a wolf in the act of harming cattle or a work animal, they do now have the ability to shoot the wolf. So that was one thing that was being fought for throughout this year. So they finally came to an agreement on that. And that goes into effect on December 8th, which is coming up, I believe, Friday of next week. So that was one of the adventures of 2023, was getting that figured out. But wait, there's more. Another thing that happened throughout 2023 is trying to figure out where Colorado was going to get donor wolves from. I don't know if it was just sort of assumed that a lot of our neighbors to the north, like Wyoming and Montana and Idaho, I don't know if it was just assumed that it's like, oh yeah, they'll give us wolves. Like, that's where we'll get them from. But that did not happen. A lot of the states to the north that we first went to, again, I don't know if it was just an assumption that they would give us wolves and it really wouldn't be that big of a deal, but they all told Colorado, no, you can't take wolves. More than halfway through the year, and we still didn't know where. They had talked to the state of Washington, who said that, yeah, we may be able to help you out, but it wouldn't be until next year, like into 2024. And our governor, Polis, is very much like, hey, this is the will of the people. We have to make this happen. The state of Oregon actually came to the rescue, I would say. So Oregon agreed. And basically they said, hey, we've worked with a bunch of other states who have donated, reintroduced species to us. So it is only fair that we give back. And so we are getting our first gray wolves from the state of Oregon. So another big thing that has come up this year, or has come to light in 2023, although the incident itself happened in 2020, is about a hunter that lives up in Colorado, but lives up on the Wyoming border. And in 2020, he was aware that there was a sort of rogue wolf pack that had come down from Wyoming into Colorado, and again was in a small but established pack up near Walden. Again, this is up along the Colorado-Wyoming border. So what he had done, he really wanted to hunt wolves. And in Colorado, you cannot do that. Like I said, it's a protected species. You can get fined a lot of money, and you could possibly go to jail. So him and his sons were loading up an ATV, and they were driving up across the Colorado-Wyoming border, and they were playing on some sort of like recorder, like wounded pronghorn sounds and wounded cow elk sounds, trying to lure the wolves up across the border, where you could shoot them at any time without consequence in Wyoming, because wolves are only protected in Wyoming up in that Yellowstone area. Their luring technique worked, and 3, possibly 4 wolves went up across the border, and they sat there and just blasted them, right? Like, I think the guy said literally one of them was like within feet of being in Wyoming rather than in Colorado. I guess maybe this could be just a common practice of like playing back, like pronghorn on like a Walkman to like lure wolves out, I guess. Again, I said I was going to try not to inject any sort of personal opinion, but I'm just going to call it like it is. That is a fucking scumbag move. And I just can't see how that's not illegal. It just feels like that should be illegal. I think there was a full investigation and they found that, yeah, seems legit. So there was no charges pressed or nothing happened to the guy. So, of course, now there's this big fear that any of the wolves that do get reintroduced, although they will be further south and further away from the Wyoming border, but who's to say that they won't travel and move around? They're going to. And people are afraid it's like, wow, we reintroduced all these wolves, and these hunters up in Wyoming and Colorado are just luring them out of the state and just blasting them. So you thought maybe in 2023, as we're getting accustomed to the idea that this is happening, that maybe people would start to like cool off a little bit, but that has definitely not happened. And yeah, it's going to be a very interesting thing to see happen and how it's going to play out here. So how do I think this is going to go next year, or the years leading into this reintroduction? At first, I was pretty optimistic. I was like, you know what? These wolves are going to be out in areas of Colorado where there's not a lot of people. A lot of people are making a big deal out of this. That's actually, as it plays out, people are going to say, oh yeah, I haven't heard anything. In fact, people hardly even see these wolves. And I think in an ideal world, that's how it would go. And that's what I hope. But then again, I just, the pessimist in me is like, oh, this is not going to go well. So I am hoping for the best, but I think expecting the worst, sadly. There has been a Mexican gray wolf that has left the area where they're protected down along the Arizona-New Mexico border. And one of their gray wolves has that they have collared has been traveling up out of the protected area and going north towards northern New Mexico, southern Colorado. And a lot of times when they see that one of the wolves is going off the protected area, they will go capture it and bring it back. And this time they are allowing it. So it almost makes me wonder if maybe that was a missed opportunity to also bring in Mexican gray wolves for southern Colorado. I don't know anything about this stuff, but just sort of everything I've read, where it almost seems like maybe a Mexican gray wolf reintroduction sort of in the southern Rockies and that area down, the Sangre de Cristos and those mountain, the San Juans down there in southern Colorado. I don't know if maybe that would have a better chance of working out or not, but I don't know. I guess, like I said, I don't know how this is going to go. I was initially like pretty optimistic to say, hey, once people see that wolves are hardly ever popping up and people aren't running into them, people are going to be like, oh yeah, see, this really actually isn't that big of a deal. And I do think there's so many overall benefits of having wolves back in Colorado that just felt like people would come around to it. But now, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I don't know how it's going to go. Anyways, that is, I think, a pretty good video to catch you up on everything that's going on. Again, they haven't told us the date that they're actually going to release wolves. They can't do it before the 8th. So, but it has to be before the end of the year. So it's going to be in there somewhere. My guess is, of course, they're not going to say where they're releasing it, but my guess would be that once they do release, they will inform everyone that, hey, they're out there. So, yeah, we'll see what day it actually ends up being. And it'll be, if anything, it'll be very interesting to see how they travel, what sort of, direction they go, and just how well they can do. So we'll see. But that's all I got for you right now. I just thought it was an important video to make because this is a very big deal for Colorado. And, like I said, my channel is all about wildlife in Colorado and photography. So who knows? Maybe at some point in time, if this works out well, I can go out and photograph wolves in Colorado. So we'll see. But anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.